Welcome back to the channel. This is the Casuals. I'm Jin.
And I'm Saki.
Today's episode is Impractical Question, the finale. And for those of you who have been a long time watcher, if you have watched our episodes, um, it's been pretty much into that or led to this episode being the final one. I think in total you have 200 questions. Is that correct?
Yes.
And today's episode, will be pretty much the very last impractical questions that we will have for the foreseeable future as of now. It's been a wild ride since we've been doing it. Pretty much 2 years. I think it's closer to 1.5 since we started it, but it's been pretty much 2 years, at least since the inception of having one of this series be a thing. And so, how are you feeling now that we're at the end of the road for this one?
I'm kind of shocked we're at the end of the road, to be honest. Thought we would have got fed up with them like halfway through.
Funny enough, I never ever thought that, even in the slides. I always thought it was fun.
I thought you would have been at 100. You're like, holy fuck, what is wrong with this guy? You're like, why do you have so many dumb questions?
I mean, I think the only reason why I didn't think that way is because I have stupid questions in life, So
I guess we all do at some point, right?
yeah, so it's like I am a man of being dumb. So dumb questions equals good to me.
Well, thank you for putting up with 200 of them.
Oh man, but I don't know. It's just wild that we're in our pretty much last episode for Impractical Question, and it's kind of like a hallmark for anyone, really, right? Where we had a loose goal of completing all these questions, at some point in our, at least, recording careers in this channel and in this concept. And this is a chapter that we can close on, and I feel pretty proud of that, being able to say that we are finally at the end, and so yeah, 20 more questions and it'll be the end.
Yeah, and I'm looking at back to when I emailed this list to myself. October 9th of 23.
Yeah.
I've had this email in my inbox for over a year.
Oh man. Yeah, it's crazy. Well, without further ado, let the grand finale begin.
All right, let's start it off. Would it be cannibalism if a plant eats another plant?
Yes. Because I think it's just simply the act. Well, actually, I don't know the exact definition of cannibalism because it's usually only applied to animals or humans. But it's like the act of eating your own kind is cannibalism. And I guess like that's kind of like the rough or blanket definition of cannibalism. So I would assume that yes, plants eating other plants is cannibalism. It doesn't have anything to do with the meat. It's more like the act of doing it.
Yeah. I think in my head I was trying to think of another word of cannibalism, but like with the word plant in it or something stupid.
Veganism.
Oh boy, that's a topic we shouldn't get into.
If you're hearing this, I just thought of it because of vegetables, not necessarily even like the act of being vegan. It was literally just vegetables. I'm like, plant, yes, vegetable. Ah, yes, veganism.
Let's move on before we get canceled.
As if we haven't been already.
True. All right, I guess we'll move on to you. Do you think beavers just see flowing water and think to themselves, absolutely fucking not.
Yes, in fact, it is not even necessary. Yes, actually, yes, 100%. Because there was a study done by people who were curious. Of course, there's someone going to be curious about this, right? Because
There's got to be
beavers,
at least one.
yeah. So what had happened was a scientist or researchers decided to have go to your beaver habitat where there's no running water at, or at least where at least beavers were near, right? I don't think they would necessarily live there, but they were like within the range of that area, proximity of that area. And so there's no running water at all, and they had a boombox or something like that playing sounds of water like flowing, right, like a river.
Mm-hmm.
And sure enough, the beavers went absolutely fucking not and covered the entire thing with logs.
Oh, yeah, okay, that...
They were trying to
Yeah.
make a dam out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And so the conclusion from that study was yes, beavers see flowing water or rivers and just go, absolutely not.
We can't be having this here.
Now, of course, that study is kind of still a little bit because you're only testing the sound, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's only so it could have just been that they were actually pissed off by the sound, like just sounds existing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I don't remember if that test included like just different sounds too, other than water. And then once they did put on water, that's when the beavers acted. But I think that like I remember reading that test somewhere, and it was pretty funny. Like, because someone was like, absolutely not.
Is it weird? I think I remember reading that as well.
It was a very popular. I think it was a very popular like internet image going around.
My mind just went to that screaming gerbil. They just beavers just see water and just go, ah!
Yes.
I just thought of that for some reason.
Yeah. So So the answer I want to say is yes. They absolutely say, or they look at water to go, absolutely not.
Right. Um, Now that I read this next question, I'm wondering if I even want to read this.
Go ahead.
If men are from Mars and women are from Venus, then are all the other genders pulled out from Uranus?
You know, that was that was that's pretty clever. I'll give you that. Yes.
Uh,
That's I think as a joke that's very funny. Cuz I did not expect you to go that way for some reason. I thought you were going to come up with like something like maybe like Pluto as a child or something like that.
yeah, no, you have to realize this is me we're talking about here. You've gone through, this is 184, you've gone through 183 questions at this point.
And I still haven't learned. I still haven't learned. Or maybe I thought you were going to say like I don't know. I just did not expect you to pull out the Uranus planet.
So, yeah, I think we should just move on. So, I guess we'll move on. Can you consider post-nut clarity just coming to your senses?
Yeah, it's a good play on words, but yeah, I would say that's pretty direct.
Yep.
That might have been. No, actually, I don't think it would have been that. Like, I don't think that's how it relates to each other in terms of like that's how post-nut clarity came to as the term.
Yeah,
I think it was just a coincidence.
probably. I guess next one is, if a cow doesn't produce milk, is it a milk dud or an utter failure?
Utter failure.
Utter fa-
There's no way about it. Just utter failure. That I will not accept it any other way.
Not even a milk dud.
Nope. Utter failure. It has to be utter failure.
Oh no, I like milk dud too, but
I
I
think
agree.
utter failure just sounds more like, truly like, damn, this cow really couldn't produce milk.
True. Yeah, that does seem more of a serious thing than a milk dud.
Yeah, because milk dud sounds like there's like milk still involved. Like, like there's a possibility of milk still happening, but it's not actually milk. Like, it's more closer to water.
Mm, okay. I could see that. Then yeah, I would say utter failure is probably better.
Yeah.
Okay. This one you're gonna have to like listen to how I'm saying this question.
Okay.
Before is
Before
is.
No, because it's still asking for a pre-past tense of a state. So no, because is still technically, or is by all means is the present versus was being the past. Um, so you cannot say was or is was because it's like saying present mixed with past or present does, or you can't say the present turns into the past um, by saying that it was the past. I don't know how else to describe it.
Cracking up here. So I'm just reading it. And then you were saying it back, and I was just dying laughing. I'm sorry. You're like, yeah, wasn't, because was it. It's just dying.
I could understand the intention, but I think yeah, my answer is no. Was is not is.
But wait. God, that's. I'm reading the question and it looks like was is spelled incorrectly.
Oh, that happens so often when you see the word too many times.
Especially 5 times in a row in the same sentence.
Yeah,
Is that even how you spell it? WAS?
indeed.
Oh God.
In reality,
Okay.
it's not was, it's was.
Was. So before was was is. Okay, no, I'm moving on. I can't. I can't anymore. My brain hurts. Next one. Is the constellation Orion's belt.
Mm-hmm.
It, so, is Orion's belt a waste of time? And would you rate it 3 stars?
Yes.
Absolutely. I agree. 100%. Do we even want to explain that one or just leave
Nope.
it?
The audience can figure it out for themselves.
All right. If you don't understand that, Google. Okay, next one. If the Incredible Hulk was English, would he be called the Absolute Unit?
Oh man. Yes. He would be called um the absolute unit because that actually came from at least in terms of the Reddit subreddit being that it originated from someone showing, I forget who it was. It might have been the defense minister or something like that. And that person is huge. And someone's like, look at this absolute unit, and that's how it was born.
Oh, well, that's interesting. I didn't know that.
And they were the English defense minister, I believe. I am not exactly sure. It might have been actually a hotel like chain owner or something like that, but it was someone's fairly high up.
The more you know. All right, the Incredible Hulk, you are now the Absolute Unit.
Yep.
Can you imagine the next Hulk movie? In England is just the absolute unit.
Yeah.
That's just how it's named. Like we have the Incredible Hulk, like then whatever the how there's like Spider-Man, then Far From Home or something.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like the Incredible Hulk, whatever. But over there, it's the absolute unit, whatever. Then whatever it
Yeah.
is. All right, what's the next? Oh boy. Okay. If amputees decided to learn martial arts, could we call it partial arts?
I guess if you wanted to really make fun of them,
If you
but
really wanted to add salt to that wound.
um, but I'm sure there are very proficient martial artists who have some way or form of doing martial arts without, I guess, arms or legs.
Hmm.
That will kick your ass while doing it.
Oh yeah, I'm sure if I just walked into like a taekwondo like studio or dojo, whatever you call them,
Hmm.
I'm sure that like 8-year-old kid could probably beat me up.
Yeah, and so I would probably be like laughing to myself internally, but never say it out loud because I know my ass is gonna get kicked.
Yeah, I would just no, yeah, I'd give up. If they're learning martial arts, I've never learned martial arts, so I know my ass is gonna get kicked. Unless I'm just like greatly like just stronger and bigger than the person. Like if it's like a 5-year-old or something, yeah, I could probably beat a 5-year-old. But if it's like a 10-year-old or something, that might be a little harder.
Yeah.
But I guess technically you can call it martial arts if you would like to.
Mm-hmm.
Bad taste, but I guess I don't see a reason why you can, except you're just an asshole.
Yeah. Lesson to be learned. Don't do it.
Yeah, just don't do it. All right, this next one. Can you consider Fitbits a Tamagotchi, except the stupid animal that you're trying to keep alive is you?
Yes. 100%. That is a great way of putting it. The challenge is extra hard because it is you.
Yeah. I remember I was cleaning something in my house and I found a Fitbit. And I was like, oh my god, I remember when these were popular. And then for some reason on like my Amazon like homepage or whatever, Tamagotchis popped up as well. And I was like, oh my gosh, I remember having a Tamagotchi. And I remember it was a pain in the ass to keep quiet and like alive. And I'm like, it's basically what a Fitbit is.
Yeah, pretty much.
We
Maybe
are.
Fitbit was designed with Tamagotchis in mind.
What if Tamagotchi was just like the prototype for.
What if, truly?
You would never know. That'd be freaky though if it was. They're getting you like. When did those things like come out? Like when we were like 10 or something?
I think so, yeah, around that time.
Imagine they're like, let's test it on these 10-year-olds and see what happens. And then like, oh, whenever Fitbits were popular, they came out. They're like, let's launch it.
Yeah.
That's weird. All right, moving on. If STDs are sexually con- contacted, did I write that?
Sexually transmitted diseases?
Yeah. How did the first person get infected?
We don't want to talk about that.
Yeah, probably not. Huh?
There's a certain rumor involving a man and uh, something similar to a human. Let's just leave it at that. But in reality, it's actually probably just straight up originated from a person, and then it just spread from another person, and then it was formally classified as an STD afterwards. That's what probably really happened.
Yeah, let's stick with that story. That sounds better
Don't
than.
look into more, kids. Leave it out of your mind.
Yeah, let's pretend that one didn't happen, and we'll just move on to the next one. What would you call a mix of a cat/kitten and a sheep? Would it be a shat or a shitten?
Shitting.
Shitten?
Yeah, shitting. I think people would definitely go for shitting. I don't think
I
people
don't
would
know.
go for shat. I don't know. I feel like people really like the like two syllable thing, like shitting.
Yeah, true.
So I think people would naturally gravitate towards shitting more than shat. And
Yeah, I
plus,
think.
shat sounds like you are saying like I shat myself.
Yeah, I think that's the point. I could see both. I could be like, yeah, I have a. Want to meet my shat? Or like, hey, I have a shitten.
Yeah,
I feel like they both, but I think shitten could be used more.
I think especially when people have no idea what you're going on about, they might conclude that it's more of a like cat animal thing than
Yeah,
a
they might.
shat.
They might think you're trying to say kitten.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh no no no, it is a shitten.
Wait until you see.
Okay, so we would call it a shitten then.
I would.
All right, I could get behind that one. Although I do like shat too. That's pretty funny. Yeah, hey, another animal question. Do normal dogs see like the police canines and think, oh shit, it's the cops?
Nah.
No.
Nah. They're like, hey, yo, my buddy.
Yo, homeboy, let me get a sniff. Yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna say another joke, but I don't want to say it actually.
Oh.
It's really bad.
Oh boy.
Oh no, yeah. But I think joke purposes definitely yeah, but like in terms of like realistic answer, probably no. They probably don't see it any different than any other dog.
Yeah. Although I like to think that if they see a like a normal dog sees a canine police dog, I'd like to think they'd be like, ah, fuck, it's the cops. Ah, cool. Ah, cool.
Ah shit, hide the milk bones.
Yeah, hide the milk, bury the milk bones, dude.
Can't let them know it's contraband.
That's your tennis ball, right? We didn't steal it.
See, Jerry got it from the woods. He definitely killed that dog for it.
Yeah. All right. Next question. If Cinderella's shoe fits so perfectly, then why did it fall off in the first place?
Because terrible story writing. That's all I could really say. No, really, that doesn't make any sense that it fits perfectly, but yet it fell off.
Right?
Well,
It's the glass like heel or glass shoe.
yeah. I mean, I guess you could argue that fits perfectly doesn't necessarily mean it's like tight around you, because then how would you ever get it on in the first place?
Just slam your foot through it, break it, blast through your foot.
Shatters. Yeah. I think it's like more like, does this fit naturally to the overall shape, rather than fit? I guess would be the more intents and purposes.
Yeah, let's leave it at this because I just thought of like the real reason of when they were trying to find Cinderella. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I remember what people actually like the actual story was, and yeah, we should probably just leave that part out.
Yeah.
Keep it PG, I guess.
Indeed.
God. Oh, I hate myself for these questions sometimes. Would you call something that's kind of rad, but not too rad, a rad-ish?
Yes.
I just, it was just the dead silence for a second that got me.
I snorted a little, but yes, radish. Damn. You really came up with these questions, huh?
Yeah, I did. I unfortunately did.
Whew.
We're almost there.
Oh.
We're almost done. Don't worry, your brain cells will be safe.
As if they weren't already damaged.
Right after 190 something. Is sand called sand because it's between the sea and land?
Mmm.
Oh, no, 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 no,
You know, that's a pretty cool, like, I guess, like, little, like, word connection you could do there, huh?
no. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. Maybe it could have genuinely been that reason, but the one thing that does stop it is because, like, the Middle East exists.
Pretend that didn't exist. I'm just kidding.
Pretend we were still in Pangea.
Yes.
Um,
We were one.
but yeah, I think that's a cool thing. It could have been like a translation of that, but I don't know. I genuinely do not know why it's called sand.
And we'll never know because I'm too lazy to find out. Being truthful here. All right. Wait, can I count 1 second? Okay, we're on the final 5.
Nice.
If eating your dessert before your meal spoils your appetite, then won't eating your meal before your dessert ruin your appetite for dessert?
Yeah, it could, honestly.
Yeah, like you're at like a restaurant or something, you get your entree and then you're like, "Oh, I'm so full, you can't eat dessert."
Yeah, definitely. It's
Right?
happened to me a couple times where I'm like, ooh, I definitely ate a little bit too much. And I'm like, ooh, shoot, can I even eat this dessert? And I end up not eating it all.
And it's if you're someone who really likes your desserts, you got to eat that first. Can you do that? Can you just go to a restaurant and be like, "Yeah, I'll start with dessert first, thank you."
I'm sure they'll accommodate for you.
Be like, "Can I have a slice of cake and then my entree and then the appetizer?" We're eating backwards here today.
Yeah. I think they definitely would just because in the end you're paying, so like it's not a big fuss anyways.
Yeah, they'd probably just be like, "Yeah, sure, weirdo."
They say that out loud in front of you.
Oh, I'd be like, "Well, thank you for accommodating."
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely
Yeah,
could ruin your appetite for dessert.
I would say so because, yeah, that's happened to me too. I'm like, "Oh, I ate way too much." Like you had an appetizer and the entree, then you really can eat dessert. All right. What would happen if Pinocchio said, "My nose will grow"?
Hmm. That's quite the paradox. I would say
Does he just implode?
maybe. He may just implode out of logic short circuiting.
Or would you know how his nose grows if he lies, right?
Uh huh.
So what if he said, "My nose will grow," but instead of growing, it like inverted back inside of him? Like
Shrinks.
his nose just shrunk back into his face?
Yeah, that's horrifying to think about. Um, yeah, I genuinely don't know because that kind of question has never been addressed. I don't think the person who made that story didn't think about that either.
Probably not. They're probably not a psycho like I am.
He
They're
just
probably
freaking
pretty normal.
crashed like the plane of existence. with that.
He's just questioning his life now. Like, think of that.
Yeah.
But we will never know. My answer is the nose like retracts back into his body, or he just implodes because it doesn't know what's gonna happen, and if nothing happens, is it a lie? But the nose didn't grow, so he just explode.
Kaboom.
Yep, ticking time bomb. All right. Why do ashes turn white on black clothing but black on white clothing?
I think it's because it's gray, right? So like I think gray actually reacts differently. Or the color contrast actually happens when gray either lands on white or black.
Are they
Um,
gray?
I'm pretty sure they're gray.
No.
I guess
Hmm.
like at least the most commonly portrayed ashes is gray-ish, right? Um, but I think that's generally what happens. It's because of like the contrast. It's definitely not. Uh, it could also just be how hot it is, I guess, right? Because I think if it's like hot enough, it's still white. I don't know. It could just be mysterious timing, but I want to say it's because it's like gray or something like that. And for some reason, I have a feeling I'm also completely wrong.
Yeah, I didn't. I don't know. I thought. Well, I don't even know what I thought. I did not think they were gray. I'll tell you that.
I always thought ashes were gray.
You know, just a couple minutes ago, I was thinking to myself, what if they're like black on one side and white on the other? But
And
then I thought,
it perfectly lands on the opposite side every time.
yeah, and then I thought to myself, how stupid are you?
uh,
I'm like, that can't be possible. You know that meme? What's the Friends meme where he's like, to get a load of this idiot, you know?
yeah.
Yeah, that was just me for a second.
A mood.
Yep. Okay. We're at the last two questions. I can't decide which one I want to be the finale.
Well,
Do we want another before was question as the finale or no?
I think we should say do that right now.
Okay. Just to let you know, I'm gonna read this question to you,
Mm-hmm.
and I might be slow because I actually have to think about it while I'm reading it.
Gotcha.
Okay. Did you know that read and lead rhyme and red and lead rhyme, but read and lead don't rhyme, and neither do red and no, read and lead or what? Fuck yeah, that last part fucked me up. You get the gist.
Yes. And so it's really just a series of unfortunate events of the English lexicon and English words of definitions. I definitely do understand where you're going with, and it's just really fascinating how that happens. Um,
They're all four words are spelled the same, or pretty much the same.
yeah. Um, it's just the context is really what makes it different. But yeah, it is strange how you know read is not lead. Um, yet it could be read as red.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, it's like it is quite the strange conundrum. And I think it is genuinely just a coincidence that it happened to be that way.
Yeah, I think the people who wrote the English language just said, screw these people.
William Shakespeare was like, I know they're getting rid of my language. They're gonna have to learn the hard way. But yeah, it's an interesting conundrum though. Very, very like, I think most people would definitely like give a pause and be like, "What?" But for me, I understood exactly where you were going with that one. Fortunately
Well, thank God.
enough.
Because Yeah, I tried to make that as smooth as possible, but I just I
Yeah,
could.
I think you were trying to say if read rhymes with read rhymes with lead, lead rhymes with red, but how come red is not equal to lead?
And lead is not equal to red.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. See? 2 minds. We need 2 minds for this question. And our grand finale question. If you identify a UFO as a UFO, would it then become an FO? Unless it's landed, then would it just simply be an O?
So UFO is actually not unidentified flying object. I think it's called unidentified. No, actually, it is unidentified flying object. So yes, both would be correct if you were identifying it as a UFO. I mean, actually, no. You could still say it's a UFO because you still don't know what it is. You could just identify it as its unknown origin, and it's a flying object. So it still would apply as, you know, unidentifiable flying object. And if it's underground, um, then I guess you could just say unidentifiable object, UO.
So then it'd be a UO.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yep. It's as simple
That
as that.
felt that felt a little anticlimactic, not gonna lie. I thought that was gonna be more interesting.
I mean, I think you definitely could get into like the whole like technicality of if you identify it as like truly an unidentifiable object, is it still unidentifiable? And I think the answer is still yes. Because what if you're looking at a strange mass? You're like, well, I clearly don't know what it is. I know it's unidentifiable. Does that make it still identifiable, even though you clearly don't know what it is? I still think most people would come to the conclusion saying, yes, it's still unidentifiable.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that logic. Actually, yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay,
Hmm?
do we want one bonus question?
If that bonus question is safe.
Safe in what?
It won't get us canceled.
uh, Give me a second to think about this.
I think if you have to think about it, I don't think we should do it. It's
I
kind of
mean,
like that.
it's
It's kind of
not
like the
like
conundrums. Like, if you really have to think about it, I don't think we should do it.
like I don't think it's horrible, but I don't think it's that bad.
Here's the thing, then. I have a question for you, right?
Okay.
And we
No,
can.
actually, no. Now that I think about it, if I add one extra piece to this question, it's not bad because I'm thinking about the question right now. There
Mm,
is portion of it that should be mentioned.
okay. Maybe this could be the last question because I actually do genuinely have a question for you.
Oh, so are there two questions or one question?
It might be one question depending on how mind broken you get.
Oh Lord.
So, you know how light, the existence of light, you know, exists, right?
Mm-hmm.
At one point, so you know how light travels?
Yes.
At what point does light stop becoming light in its journey?
Um, I don't know if does it ever stop? I don't think it would. We just can't see it, right?
That's the thing. We don't know. At least I don't know, right? And
Yeah, like
technically, light is a mass. It should have no mass if I'm correct. No, actually it does, but very very tiny molecules. I think that's what it is, or atoms. But if you think about it, light is technically infinite. So at one point does that infinite stop? If there is an end.
I think for us it'd be till we can't like see it
Mm-hmm.
anymore.
Uh-huh.
But if it's infinite, I think it would just go on forever. We just won't know.
Unless there is an end somewhere that we don't know of. maybe it's far beyond capability than we could ever possibly calculate.
Honestly, yeah, it's a very likely possibility.
Because if you think about it, the stars we see are
Gone.
possibly,
They
yeah,
could
gone.
possibly be burned out already years
Yeah,
ago.
and they're still showing light because light is still traveling to us.
Hmm. I think for at least humans, it's till we can't see it anymore. But I
Mhm.
think it still goes on for indefinitely.
Yeah. This is a question that I thought too. Like, how far can light go, and is there actually a calculable end? The
See,
answers
that's
we'll
a
never know.
yeah, we'll never know. But that's an actually a good question. Like, I didn't lose the brain cell. I feel like I gained some.
I healed you. I healed you after all this time.
After I took about 200 away from you.
Yeah. It's my last gift, but if you wish to end this in the most impractical question ever, you may do so, or you may walk away being healed.
We're doing 201. No, 202. Because why not? We've already suffered through it. What's one more?
Oh boy.
In the movie Zootopia, there is ice cream, but we don't see cows. Who's being milked?
The cows.
But we don't see cows. We
Because they're
don't know if
locked
they're
up in
in
the
there.
dungeons. They're forever slaves to the Zootopian people.
So there's just like under every ice cream, like, are they called ice cream parlors?
Ice
Ice
cream
cream shop?
parlors, yeah. Just
Ice cream parlors?
forever
Just
held hostage.
in like the back room or like the employee area or like down in the basement, there's just like the cows.
Yep.
So now
You'll.
that I think about it, watching that movie, I did not see a cow, but I did see ice cream.
Yep. They'll never see the light of day, unfortunately.
There you have it. The cows are enslaved in the back room.
Yep. Horrifying way to end the episode, but
I didn't intend it to be that bad, but I guess we just took it there, so.
yeah. Um but, it has been a fun journey going through 202 questions from its inception to the end. And I would like to congratulate you for being able to, create 200 plus questions, on your own time. I would have definitely never been able to come up with 200, much less 100 of like these kind of questions in general. Um, but this is another chapter ending in our, I guess, lives for the foreseeable future. Um, and I'm glad that we got it to the timing where there's only a few weeks left in the year, and the New Year's about to come, and our anniversary is about to come. So, it has been a good ride, and so, you know, thank you for your work.
You're welcome. Thank my brain, I guess, for thinking of that stuff.
But yeah, thank you for those who have listened to our episodes, whether or not you've only tuned in for a few, all, or maybe this is the first one. Um, and we hope that some of these questions give you a good laugh, and some of these responses gave you a good laugh. Maybe some of them gave you, a serious thought. Who knows? And some of you may think that we're crazy.
That's probably the most likely one.
Most likely one, yeah. But I hope in the end it was still enjoyable. And so this will be the final, closeout for this series. And so I'm Jin.
And I'm Saki.
And this is the Casuals, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.